So I think some of them were quite narrow-minded in their view of what they were looking at. They focused on the software, nothing really anything else other than what they could do on the software. I think whether that comes in the nature of them being scientists, in terms of they want to know what they do, how they do it, and the wider scheme of things perhaps wasn't as important. In terms of the pitches, I think one group excelled within the pitch. The first group, they really embraced what they were doing, and again, the things that you can do on Dartfish. So yeah, the pitches were all right. I think you tend to get a few social loafers within some of the groups who aren't so bothered about doing stuff. As I say, they're more at this stage just want to get it, know what to do, how to do it, and then move on really. So that side of things isn't a skill that they're particularly developed at. But it definitely went better than I thought it would have done. I thought it would have it could have been quite a negative experience, and they wouldn't have embraced it. But as I say, they definitely learnt a lot, and they figured out how to use Dartfish and different things that they can use it for. And I think a lot of them are quite excited about using it for their assignments. Okay, I think if I was next year teaching the same unit, I would take quite a similar approach actually, in terms of giving them free rein on Dartfish and getting them to figure out what they can, because I think they really enjoyed that, rather than me saying this, this and this. Because I think it actually led to them finding out probably a lot more than perhaps they need to know. But I think that's a good thing, because it sort of developed their understanding of the whole software package. I don't necessarily think that the idea of doing a pitch held any real value, so I think I wouldn't necessarily do that unless the students I was with, I knew they would really consider it in terms of a wider application. But I might reconsider how we would do that section perhaps. But yeah, I think certainly in terms of getting them to explore Dartfish, it worked really well. And so I've not done that before, getting them to play around with it. I've been much more prescriptive before in terms of the things they need to learn. So actually getting them to play around with it worked quite well. Okay. So in comparison to last week, I don't necessarily feel as on much of a high as I did as at the end of last week's lesson. I think whether that's you feel if you've got a bit more control, you can see more of an end product perhaps a bit more. With less control perhaps you don't get that as much. I mean, they definitely, as I say, they did get lots out of it. It's probably on a smaller scale to what we went through last week. So yeah, I felt it went reasonably well.